Yo, what's going on, everybody? Back with a quick video, and I want to talk about CFMOTO and their success that they're going to have and that they're already having in 2025. I had somebody ask me a question about CFMOTO, and it was concerning their success and if I thought that they were legit. I was just simply telling him, his question basically was, why is CFMOTO becoming so successful in 2024 and 2025 against known Japanese and European sport bike makers, manufacturers, and what does it mean for the industry? What does it mean going forward? How can they exist in an ecosystem that's already been dominated by, the big Japanese four and then the Eurobike? So number one, cutting edge design and tech, man. The cutting edge and design tech for CFMOTO has set a new bar, right? They've leveled up their design game. They got sleek, modern aesthetics that, rival Kawasaki, Yamaha, and KTM. They partner with Yamaha as well. I don't know if they partner with KTM. I could be wrong on that. But that's not really a good look for them right now if they are partnered with KTM, because KTM is not in the best position at the moment, right? And they haven't been for quite a while, but definitely not right now. But by partnering with Yamaha, for sure, you're going to get good things out of that relationship. You're going to get, partnering with Yamaha, you're going to get really good things like Brembo brakes, KYB suspension, Bosch electronics. These are the types of things that are premium on super sport models, usually not on the baser models, but on the higher end models, from Japanese bikes and Eurobikes. So those types of, that relationship is going to provide them with better components, right? Better aesthetics and components that, otherwise most people would kind of argue against and say hey, they don't have Brembos and stuff like that. They're cheap. This is why they're cheap. If you don't have, for most people, if they don't see Brembo brakes, KYB suspension and stuff like that, electronic suspension, sometimes they just feel like the bike is not up to par, and that's not necessarily the truth. But Number two, the unbeatable price to performance ratio. It's pretty obvious, right? I mean, Japanese and the Euro brands, every year the prices rise. We're no stranger to that if you're in the motorcycle community, so you got to be ready for that. CFMOTO offers things like compatible performance at a way lower cost. When you look at something like their 675, right, SR, it is crazy how that bike is under $8,000 or at $8,000 compared to the competition, the ZX6, the Honda 600RR. It is insane what you can get in that bike for $8,000 versus buying a clapped out R6, or something similar. So riders who were aiming at R7s or the Ninja 650s or even the ZX6s are now considering the CFMOTOs, the 450 SRs, the 800 NK, and the 675, which we just talked about. Also, they have shown really, really cool progress and even given us some teasers when it comes to their newer bikes. So they've teased quite heavily with no, intention of, trolling us, but they're coming out with a 765, right? They have released a V4 engine concept that they're going to be working on in the race world. So these are things that they're giving us, and it's not vaporware, in my opinion. It's coming, and they're releasing as they come out. So, they're keeping their promises on things, and they're actually giving us things that we're looking over here at Suzuki, and we're over here looking at Yamaha, we're looking at Kawasaki, and we're like, why aren't y'all doing these things? We want these type of motorcycles. Why aren't you giving them to us, right? So number three, Expanding their dealership network and support, especially in my area. Lots of dealerships that I never saw CFMOTO in, they're now carrying CFMOTO stuff and CFMOTO gear. Now these are places where you would go into and you would sometimes see different Chinese manufacturers in there. They do have them besides CFMOTO, but those are the ones that you would see promoted all the time under the bigger brands, like the Japanese brands, Honda and stuff. So they've always had Chinese brands, but CFMOTO has definitely stepped up their game and they're getting into more dealerships. CFMOTO used to suffer from poor dealership support, but they've massively expanded in North America, especially in Europe, and more dealerships are, like I said, are starting to carry more and more of their products, which means more and more parts are available, right? Your services and resale values are going to go up because people are going to want them, right? I think the 450 SS is probably going to be their cornerstone bike for new riders and stuff like that. So, you know, you have options. One thing I always say is that options for the consumer, it means that you win, because when there's not a lot of competition, that means you're stuck paying those big prices. You're basically stuck with whatever they're going to give you, right? Because there's no competition to break up the monotony and the monopoly of what they're doing. So CFMOTO is doing some good things. Number four, they got feature packed bikes, man, and they're straight from the factory. And what do I mean by this? Like, guys, I'm trying to tell you, unlike the competition, right? Like Suzuki, like Yamaha, right? That sell stripped down bike models, right? The base model bikes. For example, my bike is a GSXR-1000 R. They make a double R version, but the only thing on that version you're going to get is upgraded suspension, right? Which is from Showa, which is really, really good, right? But again, that should be standard, right? So, like I was saying, things like they offer things like brand new full color TFTs with Bluetooth, right? They got riding modes and quick shifters, upside down forks and radial brakes, LEDs and lighting, aerodynamics. The bikes look amazing, right? And it's straight from the factory, right? They're not going to give you a bunch of like different tiers of the bike to spend your money on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is always great if you can get all that stuff, most of that stuff, straight from the dealer and not have to, you know, spend that or, you know, spend money on premium extra aftermarket upgrades right away. We're going to do that anyway, but right away, you don't really want to do that. That's just my opinion. You know, it is what it is. I don't understand why. I just don't even understand why some of these manufacturers, like the Japanese bikes, don't offer some of these premium parts that you would want with your bike aftermarket wise. Anyway, I don't get it. But, you know, it is what it is. They are trying their best, like I said, to be successful and to break in. Number five, social media and influencer hype, man, has been huge for CFMOTO. It's been really, really huge. And I think it's probably one of the major factors and reasons why people are paying attention to them so much, right? CFMOTO, they've mastered pretty much influencer marketing, dude. They've gotten all the big YouTubers like Chase on Two Wheels, just to name like one, right? But they've got plenty of bigger motovloggers that are testing their bikes out, using their bikes, and they're really beating them up and putting them through the paces to kind of like, you know, it shows you if they can handle the miles, handle being beat up and stuff like that. Like, they're putting them through the paces and they're not lying to anybody. You can see it. But these guys, they're showcasing their bikes, right? In my opinion, they help break up that cheap Chinese bike or Chinese part stigma that is always put on China. And it's kind of proven that CFMOTO machines are built to last, and they're built rugged, they're built tough. The bottom line, right? The bottom line, I believe that in 2025, for sure, this year, CFMOTO is no longer going to be considered an underdog. And I would think that, honestly, I think that it can happen this year if they were to release like their 765 or if they were to release their leader bike. I believe once they do that, I believe it's going to be at that moment when CFMOTO is no longer considered an underdog. It's going to be considered a real competitor with affordable performance, with their aggressive marketing style, and their top tier features that they put on the bikes. Like I was telling you, with their bikes, you're getting, even if you get like a 300 or 400 or something like that, the 450 SF, you're still getting that full color TFT dash. I basically have a brand new Gixxer, and my TFT dash is like from, I don't know, man, like 2009 or something. It's like black and white. Like it's old school. Like I'm surprised you pay that much money for a leader bike and you can't get things like a full color TFT dash. I got to go buy an AIM dash for $1,300 to be able to get a display that should have came with the bike to begin with. That's crazy to me, right? The fact that I don't get the Showa shocks because they have two different models specifically that separates the suspension from one model to the other, that's stupid. Just release one bike and everybody's going to buy that same bike. Like, you know, that's what I'm telling you. It's just crazy what you can get from the bikes and what they're charging. I believe if CFMOTO produced the same equivalent inline 4 leader bike like the Gixxer 1000, I think if they put out a leader bike, I believe without a shadow of a doubt that it would probably be on par with Suzuki's maintenance. And it's going to cost less straight off the factory. So once they break into that game, people are really, really going to pay attention to them, right? They're going to really pay attention to them because right now all they're doing is attracting new riders, especially experienced riders who really just want a high quality bike in different classes, right? Without having to break the bank, right? Like nobody wants to go, I'm sorry, nobody wants to go buy an adventure bike from Ducati when they can go get the Honda version, you know, for way cheaper with way better reliability, right? That's what CFMOTO is going to end up doing. They're breaking into the adventure bike game with their CFMOTO, the 450 MT and 800 MT. They're trying to do everything they can to break the competition. They're going to force, what they're going to end up doing is they're going to end up forcing the competition to correct their pricing based on what they're offering the market and based on what CFMOTO is offering the market, right? They're going to have to do it. It's going to force them to do it. It's going to force them to do it. So think of things like that, right? Think of things like that. Imagine, you know, not having to pay a $1,300 difference because your TFT is not a full color one, right? CFMOTO is priced perfectly. They're priced beautifully. I believe that their profit margins are purposely set to a minimum low in order to flood the market with their bikes. Once the market is flooded with their bikes and their bikes are everywhere and people know the name and they're no stranger to the public, I think at that point we're going to get better quality bikes with like way better quality parts. And that's when the prices are going to start to creep up again. And so I think if you get in early, you're going to benefit the most versus once they become an industry standard, especially on the race game, that once they start getting respect there, that's when they're going to know that they can charge way more money for their product. So I'm telling you right now, I'm calling it right now, CFMOTO is never going to be this cheap for very long before once they start getting respect, the prices are going to go up, right? Because like I said, you can't get anything like, it's crazy. I would probably consider the 675 possibly over like the new Yamaha R9. Basically on price point, $8,000 versus like $12,900 or something like that. It's crazy, but very, very similar bikes. I can't wait to see those bikes being pitted against each other to see like how they actually compare. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. Is CFMOTO for you? Are you considering it? Do you consider them an underdog, or do you consider them even a competitor in this market today? Let me know. Peace.